Hey everyone, Benji from the Right Sun here, and I wanted to make this video at the beginning of the week, but my intuition was telling me that it wasn't quite time yet. But it is now. I'm going to give you the 7-day intuition challenge. Let's shift into our heart space and get going. So everyone, thank you so much for joining me. This 7-day intuition challenge is part of an overall 21-day New You challenge that I've got going. You can check out some of those other videos. It starts off with 21 days of daily habits changes, things like your morning routine and mental habits, stuff like that. Then a 14-day brain food challenge where you sort of eliminate some of the negativity and some of the more harmful vibes from your social media and other things that you're absorbing on a day-to-day basis and replace it with good, positive stuff that will help you grow. And now, the 7-day intuition challenge, which I'm very excited to share with you because it really helped kick my awakening process into top gear. It was really a turning point for me, and even I didn't realize how powerful it was going to be when I started it. So, before I actually tell you about the challenge itself and how you can do it, I'd like to tell you a bit on how I ended up doing it. So I came across a video on how to contact your spirit guides. Now, I don't believe in spirit guides. I believe in science in the brain and consciousness and all of those wonderful things. And here I came across this video from someone whose videos I respected, who I got a lot of wisdom from already, and so I decided that I didn't need to believe exactly what this person believes in order to glean some wisdom off of what they had to say. So instead of pushing someone away because I didn't immediately understand what they had to say in the language they were saying it, I recognized that language is just an imperfect barrier. It's something that we use to try and explain greater concepts and greater ideas. So what one person calls their spirit guides is what another person calls their archangels, is what another person calls God, is what another person calls, their ancestors from the spirit world, and is what I call intuition. Except by now, I'm actually willing to accept that all of those are true. Every single one of those interpretations is true. It's not that my view of seeing it as consciousness and intuition is right and someone else seeing it as archangels or spirit guides is wrong. It's just a different lens of looking at the same truth. There's that white light of truth over here that we're all one, that all that exists is you and your consciousness and all of us in this sea of quantum consciousness together, and then that is passed through this prism, and that prism is our consciousness, and each one of us lies at a certain place on that other side, and some of us see it in red, and some of us see it in blue, and some of us see it in yellow, but it's all the same truth. It is all true. And even though my overall interpretation is scientific, I've now found even the benefit and sometimes being able to pass off some of these things to what you might want to call spirit guides or dragon ancestors, anything that might resonate with you in that moment. And my scientific way of viewing that is that when I think of it only as my own intuition, when I think of it only as my own consciousness, it's kind of a lot of pressure on my conscious mind to have to take care of everything that I'm trying to do. Whereas sometimes if I'm not feeling strong, it might be helpful to try and pass this off to a more unconscious part of my quantum brain by speaking affirmations addressed to someone else. So when I feel the need to address my statements, my affirmations to something outside of me so that I don't feel so much pressure about it, one of the ways I do it is with the phrase, inner self, higher self, and ultimate self. Dear inner self, higher self, and ultimate self. Inner self is my inner unconscious core. Higher self is my higher consciousness that knows what I want better than I do. Ultimate self is that unity where we are all one. Anyways, that was just a side note of don't put someone aside because you don't understand the language they're speaking in. Try and see beyond that veil and take wisdom that resonates with you, whether or not the language does, And slowly, slowly, you'll realize that the language has just been getting in your way this whole time. So many people had so many wonderful things to share with you that you didn't listen to because you were blocked by their language. Anyways, I hope that was helpful. Now, let's talk about this 7-day intuition challenge. So, the video that I saw that was talking about spirit guides said that every time you doubt this connection with your spirit guides, it gets weaker. It goes away. When you get a message from your spirit guides and you think to yourself, oh no, I'm crazy, oh that can't possibly be, spirit guides don't exist, I must just be imagining it, your spirit guides can't connect with you. They can't talk to you. So you have to believe. It's sort of like a fairy tale. You have to accept this channeling. You have to tune into that frequency consciously and accept the messages so that you can build that relationship with your spirit guides. So I took that out of the spirit guides concept and put it into intuition. And I decided that for 1 week, I was going to do whatever my gut told me to do. Even if it was something that was outside of my comfort zone, even if it was something that I disagreed with at a core level, even if it's just so long as it wasn't something that would cause me or someone else harm, so long as it wasn't morally reprehensible, so long as it wasn't, an evil thing to do, if it was just pushing myself in one way or another, or doing something that I didn't quite understand, but that I felt a strong inkling to do, I decided I was going to do it. And over that week, a lot of little things happened that I decided to trust my intuition. And in that week, a lot of them led to, small good outcomes. Some of them led to confusing outcomes that simply led to very good lessons and very freeing realizations when I decided to keep going with it. When something happened that I didn't quite understand, it didn't bring in good results, and then I stopped and think to myself, well, then why did I do this? Why did I choose to? What is the lesson here? I decided to commit to the idea that there was a lesson there. And when I did, I found the lesson. And it was great lessons, 2 great lessons. I'm trying to keep this video short, but one of them was I was working a gig as a sound tech. That's my job. I run a recording studio, I do some sound work, and there was a church group in our venue that they had sort of a gospel thing going, which the gospel is amazing, their music is amazing, so many talented musicians involved, and a lot of what the preacher had to say, I resonate with all the goodness and kindness that they talk about. I don't like in Western religion how they teach you that the power is outside of you, God is outside of you. So I don't like a lot of that goes on, but I was very much enjoying the experience, and then it turned into this sort of faith healing thing. And I don't believe in the faith healing, and I certainly didn't at the time, and I didn't like that they were there for 3 days, and the last hour and a half of every day was them asking for money. So there were a lot of things that I didn't like about this guy. I didn't like that he was convincing people that they were powerless. I didn't like that he was very clearly, he spent a lot of time asking for money and really, pulling all the heartstrings to get you to donate, every single one of them, every single classic con in the book to get you to open your wallet. Really did not resonate with me. And on top of it, I was at work and there are cameras there and he was doing his faith healing thing, and I got this intuition of, you should go up for the faith healing. And I didn't want to. Like I said, I was at work and there are cameras and I was afraid of what the boss might think. Firstly, that I went away from the sound booth, even though I wasn't really needed at the time, and went and did the faith healing. I was afraid of betraying my own beliefs. I was afraid of giving in to someone that I didn't believe in, who I thought may or may not be taking advantage of people. But for whatever reason, my intuition was telling me, go and do it. And I'll skip the whole story, but the point is I did it, and then at the end he even asked for money and said, if you commit to donating here today, then you've made a commitment to the universe. And I really didn't want to, he said to God, I guess, but not to the universe. Anyways, I didn't want to give him money. I didn't approve of him, but my intuition told me to do it, not for his benefit, but for my own. And so I did it. And on reflection on the whole thing, I sort of knew it at the time, what I was really doing in that moment was committing to this notion of intuition. Because I had just watched that video on spirit guides at the time, and it was like the first or second day of me doing my own 7-day intuition challenge. So when this came up, this was the universe or my intuition or God or the angels or whatever putting me in that position so that I could, it was a question of faith. And it wasn't about having faith in God, having faith in the universe. For me, it was having faith in myself, having faith in my gut instinct, having faith that I knew what I was doing, that I should follow what my heart is telling me. So even though the faith healing didn't work, even though I gave some money to someone I didn't believe in, by doing that, I found new self-esteem. I found new commitment to myself and my judgment and my intuition, and I became a stronger person. Isn't that lovely? Anyways, so I think I've ranted on long enough about that. Let's get right into the actual intuition challenge. So basically it's pretty simple. Choose one week, any week, start right now, start tomorrow, no, start right now. There's absolutely nothing, it should be a fairly straightforward one. Start it right now. All you gotta do is listen to that gut feeling. The first thing that pops into your mind when an opportunity presents itself, when you get asked, what do you want to eat? The first thing that pops into your mind. When you get asked, what do you want to do tonight? When you are presented with an opportunity or a decision or anything, whatever the first thing that comes into your mind is, so long as it's not harmful to yourself or to others, so long as it doesn't, conflict with any moral obligations, with anything that truly matters. If it's just a matter of, I'm not sure if I want to do that, do it. Absolutely. The first thing that pops into your head, and just follow it. And know that if it's a small thing, it might immediately lead to something good. It might just feel good. If you're deciding what to eat that night, it's not going to all of a sudden change your life. But maybe it was your body actually telling you something that you needed to know. Maybe you were lacking in iron at that time, and your body instinctively told you to eat that food that you actually needed. Maybe, you decide that you don't want to work tonight and you want to go to sleep a little earlier. And that was your body telling you need rest, or you're not feeling the right energy for this thing. Do what your intuition tells you to do. Just follow it, just go with it, and be an observer to what happens when you do. Try not to think about it, try to get out of your own head, just follow the instinct and see what happens. And if it's a good thing, take it as a good thing. Remind yourself that it was a good thing. If it's a neutral thing, or possibly even, somewhat confusing, somewhat harmful to your life in some fashion, try and glean the lesson from it. Try and look deeper. Try and zoom out. So if you're, sitting in a traffic jam and all you see is the cars around you, all you see is the problem. But if you zoom out a little bit and you're in that helicopter view and you see, what's happening 30 feet in front of you that you couldn't see before, now all of a sudden you're not frustrated. Maybe you're compassionate to something that happened in front of you. Maybe you even want to help. Maybe you're inspired. Who knows? Maybe there's, a parade coming down the other side of the street that you didn't know about. Who knows? Try and zoom out from the situation a little bit. Remove yourself as the experiencer and see yourself as the observer, and try and see what this experience was showing you. For 1 week, just act as if your intuition absolutely is your inner guide telling you something that you need to know. And just try it for 1 week. And hopefully you will see as the week goes on that you start getting a little more convinced. Every single time it starts becoming real, and that connection starts getting stronger and stronger and stronger, and you start being able to trust your intuition. You start being able to feel it a little stronger. And the beautiful thing that really happens when you start doing that is that you can learn to stop worrying about things. You can learn to stop thinking so far ahead in advance. You can just focus on yourself in the now, because you know that when the moment comes, you are going to make the right choice, because you have your intuition in there that's guiding you the entire time. And whether you want to think about it as your intuition or your higher self or Jesus or Buddha or Freddie Mercury or Bruce Lee speaking to you from beyond the grave, it doesn't matter. All that matters is that you follow what you think is right for you. It's actually, there's a line from, it's funny how wisdom often comes from the weirdest places when you're open to it. There's a line from Dogma, a Kevin Smith movie, where Penelope Cruz, no, it's not Penelope Cruz, either way, someone says, it doesn't matter what you have faith in, all that matters is that you have faith. And personally, I have faith in myself. That's all that counts, that's all you need. If you want to have faith in someone else, that's fine if it helps you, but please know that you're giving your power away and that there is a trade-off when you do that. So when you focus on your intuition as being only your spirit guides, only God, only something else, then you are removing, you're taking power away from yourself. You're telling yourself that you are not in control. And like I said, sometimes it's nice to not be in control. Sometimes it's nice to be able to pass these things off to the unconscious part of your brain. But please know that you are fully in control of your own life. So, use those bits of information as you like. And as you start doing this, if you want to learn to connect more to your intuition, then you want to learn how to connect to your heart space a little more. I mentioned that at the beginning of this video. And I do have another video about how to access your heart space, which I'll put a link to, I think, over here. On that side? On that side? I think it's on that side. I'm going to put, you can click on that to see the video on how to access your heart space. And I really, really think that if you give this a try, it will open up your eyes to a lot of things. It can kickstart an awakening process. At the very least, it can relieve so much daily stress and worry because you don't need to think so far ahead. You can just live in the moment, do your thing, trust your intuition as you go, and learn to let go to the flow of the universe. You are a drop of water in a giant river, and there is a current, and like a sailboat, or any boat, you can use a rudder, you can steer through the current, but trying to fight it completely is only going to cause you pain and make you flip over. So learn to go with the flow a little bit, learn to trust your intuition, learn to have faith in yourself, learn to love yourself, and learn to listen to wisdom, even if it's not coming from the language that you are immediately familiar with. Thank you so much, guys. Please find me on Facebook, facebook.com/therightsunphilosophy. I'm finally on Instagram as, I think, just Right Sun Philosophy. You can find me there. Obviously, therightsun.com. Please check out my other videos, the 21-Day New You Challenge, the Accessing Your Heart Space. There's a great one, I think, on 8 mental habits to drop right now if you're a little more into the, let's say, life coaching sort of stuff. But that one, I think, works really well for people on their spiritual journey also. Thank you so much for checking me out. I love you, I love you, I love you. Mwah. Benji, the Right Sun here. Have a great day, guys.